Good morning, and thank you for joining me for another edition of Kid Philly Faith. Just like to say thank you for everybody that's so far in 2011 that has joined with studying, and this is being the final day of 2011. We've picked a pretty good book to end out the year. Now, last week we already talked a little bit about the strength of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, being tempted by the devil in a couple different ways, and we're going to see, now that we know the strength of God, what He looks for in us as followers of Him. So He goes very plainly and says these few things straightforward. So, blessed is the poor in spirit, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the ones that are mourn, because they are the ones that will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, the ones that hunger for righteousness. Blessed are the merciful, pure of heart, peacemakers, and the ones that are persecuted for righteousness. And he tells you, hey, look, when they persecute you for the sake of me, know that they already do that to me, so you're going to expect it, but you're not doing what you're doing for glory here on earth, because you have a kingdom waiting for you. So you're just supposed to do what's right because that's what's right. Now, one other thing, and if you are a follower of God, then you are the salt and the light of the earth, which means the salt changes the flavor to food. We all know that. So we're to change the flavor to what this world's actually doing and shed light on everything. That includes ourselves. We're not trying to say that everything's perfect, but let's be more realistic about things and get on ground level on how we're going to go about living this life with the rules that are set in our day-to-day. But it's very clear, and we're going to get into this, these are rules that are not necessarily just all written down. Yes, they are written down, but these are rules of the heart. If you are trying to follow a bunch of rules on paper, and that's all you're doing, then you're missing the point. Which, this is what Jesus says next, is talking about how He's not supposed to be abolishing everything that was written in Moses' time and the law that was given, but it's supposed to fulfill it into a higher standard of what people intended here on earth. God intends for you to have the law affect your heart, not for you to just say, okay, I did that check. No, because there's so much that we can do that when you just live from your heart, that's what He wants. So Jesus says that, and then He jumps into really getting you to understand what the heart does when He has the law. So we go to some examples. Thou shalt not murder. Now, odds are there's a great percentage of people that haven't killed somebody before. Now, I'm ex-military, so I don't know if that counts, but odds are you haven't killed anybody. So if you check the box on that, you can go, okay, I did that. Haven't killed anybody. But Jesus says, if you murdered somebody inside of your heart, if you hated somebody so much that you just wanted them gone off the face of this earth, how many of us done that? So I'm not going to go through every one of these examples, but take that kind of approach every time you look at the law that was given and how you could check the box on that, and then what you've actually done in your heart that plants the seed for creating a great sin. And even planting that seed inside of your own heart is wrong. So, thou shalt not murder. Okay, haven't killed anybody, but murder in your own heart. If you have an issue with somebody, go and resolve that issue with that person before you start giving out gifts to, your church or whoever, thinking that you're being good. No, go first, and then give your gift. Shouldn't commit adultery, which is not just sleeping with somebody, but inside of your heart thinking about them in a bad way, because once again it plants a seed. which also goes into divorcing people and marrying divorced people and encouraging that. That's not good either. And he says something kind of interesting here. He said if you're sinning, like you're lusting after women with your eyes or your hands, but like your eyes, it's better for you to pluck out your eyeball than to keep on sinning. You'd rather go to heaven a little maimed and go into heaven instead of going to hell whole, which includes stealing. So you might rather just cut off your hand so you can't steal than to steal and go to hell. I like this one here though. He said keep your oaths, but he just said flat out just don't make oaths then. Oaths to other people, places, things. A, because you can't really control anything, and B, just let your yeses be yeses and your noes be noes. Don't try to dance around things. You believe in certain things or not. You're going to do something or you're not. There's no gray area. Let there be no gray area in your life. Whoever slaps you in the face, turn the other cheek. Now, Martin Luther King made that very popular, but it's stronger for a person to fight back and release their hate on somebody else, or is it even harder for you to turn the other cheek? So it's okay. Are you done with your hate so I can love you? Love your enemies. I mean, it sounds very simple, but it's very hard to do. And if somebody wants to ask of you to go a mile with them and step into their shoes, don't just go that mile with them and satisfy that. Go 2, because you really care. I mean, it goes on, and we're going to go through and we're going to pick apart a little bit chapter 6 as well. We're going through Matthew 5. Now we're going through chapter 6. It tells you not to put on a pedestal the things that you give to other people. If you're feeding the homeless, you're not supposed to be telling absolutely everybody. You know, there's going to be people involved in your life you want to share that with, but don't go sounding a trumpet that you're doing this. Or if you're praying, don't go sounding a trumpet, oh, I'm praying on some street corner. If you're really praying for real, you're praying in your heart, in enclosed places with the small people, the small group that really cares, but you're not trying to make a big deal out of it. There's just so much that we need to do in our everyday lives, in our own hearts. Don't lay up treasures here on earth. A lot of us do that. You know, big bank accounts or big houses, or our treasure's not here, and it's not in stuff. If we think that stuff is going to make us happy, then we're just not all around us. I mean, we can look at all the superstars out there that aren't happy with all the stuff that they have. It doesn't make you happy. What makes you happy is those people. I mean, nobody's going to be buried with their stuff and take that with them. Yeah, I know, like the Egyptians buried with them stuff, but they didn't take it with them. I don't believe that. So when you have things, it's good to give it to other people for them to benefit from it, and it might help them in their walk. And you can't serve 2 masters, which means you can't serve money and God. You got to pick one or the other. Now, the most interesting thing I think of all this stuff is you're not supposed to be worrying about where your next meal is coming from or all these other things that you really don't have too much control over. I know we can go to supermarket stuff, but the idea is this. When you worry, you're just wasting time. Think about food. Now, we worry about where our next meal comes from every day. But if every time you look up and you look at the birds in the sky, God takes care of them and they're not worried. They find their meals every day and they're still living. God's going to take care of you if you really trust in Him. If you don't, yeah, you're going to try to solve your own problems, but it's going to be way less than what God's intended and what God has for you. But when you trust Him, great things come out of that. That includes the clothes, that includes jobs, that includes everything. It's all in steps of what you're willing to trust God with. So really, don't worry about tomorrow. Let tomorrow be. You worry about today and what you can do today. And then going in through Matthew 7, don't judge. Don't judge other people, because as we're finding out, there's so much that we can judge inside of ourselves. If you judge other people, completely hypocritical, because a lot of times we point to the speck in somebody else's eye when we have a plank, a big piece of wood, in our own eye. So we're supposed to get rid of that first before we even think about going to somebody else and correcting their problems. We need to look at ourselves first. And he ends it with Matthew 7 talking about getting through a narrow gate. What he means by this is not everybody's going to get into heaven. I wish so. The fact of reality is not everybody chooses God. Not everybody goes to Jesus Christ. And not everybody believes. Now, I want everybody to, and I want to give everybody that opportunity, but it doesn't happen. That's reality. But every individual has that choice of what they're going to do in this life and who they're going to follow. Now, this is a great day. This is December 31st, 2011. It's the last day of the year. And we started something with trying to teach the Bible here in Philadelphia, downtown. For one purpose is to give people choice, to look inside their own heart and find out what they believe and help them live that. Now, probably later on tonight, there's going to be a lot of parties going on and people are going to be doing all sorts of crazy stuff, but people are also going to be making promises to themselves. They're going to be giving up certain food or giving it up drinking or just trying to get rid of bad things in their life. My challenge to people is for us to look inside of our hearts. Yeah, you can give up other things that aren't good, like fast food or whatever, fine. But I challenge for every individual, just in themselves, not to anybody else, but just to themselves. Look at themselves. Look at themselves inside of their heart. See what they need to change there. Start with something small. And try to work on that. Ask for encouragement from people that really care about you. People that have shown you their heart and that care. And go on that path week after week and see how your life changes in 2012. 2011 was great. A lot of change in life. I've grown myself. I've hoped everybody has grown, and I hope we grow even that much more in 2012. So let's look forward to a life-changing year coming up in 2012, and I hope everybody has a safe night. Be safe there on the streets, and look forward to hearing how your life has changed in the future. Have a great day. I hope you had a great year, and have a great 2012.